When it matters most, who or what will you defend? That's the central question of this year's Total Defense. And bringing home the message, or rather singing home the message this year, is a group of individuals who have come together in a 30-minute musical revue.
This is home, truly, where I know I must be, where my dreams wait for me, where the river always flows. This is home, surely.
Titled 5 Pillars, 1 Roof, it is written and directed by Jonathan Lim and Wenfu of Chestnuts fame. It weaves together the lives of various individuals, their hopes and dreams, and the challenges that stand in their way. I had a chat with Jonathan and Wenfu and found out that writing about total defense is quite different from writing about umbrellas. Jonathan and Wenfu, can you sort of tell us how do you feel when you were first approached to do something for total defense?
Wow. My first thought was, gosh, it's a difficult thing to handle because you have 5 pillars and they're all so specific, and to be able to give examples of each one and make it clear, it sounded like a lot of work, a lot of things that had to be delivered, a lot of messages that had to be put through. So our concern was, how do we put it into a musical? How do I sing a song about civil defense? How do I sing a song about water rationing?
Social defense, economic defense, psychological defense, alright!
Literally, and how to best arrange and produce music in a way that kind of caters to the wide bracket of the population, not just the kids, not just not just everyone, for the kids to the adults, to the old people, and all ethnicity as well. So those are the major concerns, not specifically to a target audience, whereas you want to reach out to the wide.
So it's so hard to create, a piece of, musical theatre somehow, that reaches such a wide range and covers so many things, and it was only subsequently, as we talked about it more and we found out more about this year's specific target angle, that we realized, actually it's not that hard, because we are talking about total defense as a personal experience, as an individual commitment, and then you realize, okay, then I just need to tell certain stories.
I had a dream the other night. I dreamt that Singapore was being attacked, just like the story my mother used to tell me about the Japanese occupation. But in my dream, it wasn't the Japanese. I don't know who they were, but they hated us. They hated our country and wanted to destroy our happiness.
And once you talk about telling stories, it becomes easier. Dramatically and musically, it's easier. To find songs that express certain people's feelings, hopes, fears, that's not difficult. So it was not a show about water rationing. It was a show about fear, concern, trust, and those are universal. So it's easy.
I kept pointing at it, trying to get people's attention, but they just couldn't see you. And they didn't see the bag either.
No, or rather they did see it, but they just ignored it.
Some of them hesitated.
But then they just moved on.
They didn't dare to report it.
Yeah, it's like they just wanted to get on that train to just get out of there.
But how different is it to write something like this compared to what Chestnuts used to?
Having to be absolutely serious, but at the same time, we've realized that humor makes a huge difference, and there's a lot of humor strung through this show, in all the different stories, because you can't sell something, you can't hard sell things to the audience, you can't just hammer them with heavy messages and dark and gloomy themes. You've got to entertain, and so the two things that we put in the show to entertain, of course, are the comedy and the music. So, between enjoying the songs and having a good laugh here and there, you realize that the audience becomes very open, very receptive, and before you know it, they've taken all the messages that you want to give them without actually feeling like, oh, you're teaching me.
And of course, most importantly for the music is that there's a lot of honesty in it. It's not about showing off different styles and getting the audience engaged in, I like this song, I like that song. But I think most importantly is the message. It's like the audience got to be listening to the lyrics rather than get enthralled in the musical arrangement or whatever it is. So it's a bit of a compromise. The songs can't be that kind of boring, whatever it is. It's honest. It's just very, very honest, and it helps to support the whole song itself.
Okay, talking about the music, I noticed that you guys used a lot of familiar tunes. I mean, why choose these songs
I mean, like Wenfu said, it's about getting the audience to listen to the lyrics, and we know when we looked at the lyrics of some of these songs like Home and There's a Part for Everyone, you realize that these lyrics say it all. They always have. We've had these songs for years. The question is, can we look at them in a different way? Can we make the same lyrics fresh? And I believe that by the time you sit through the musical, when you hear Home again, it has 100 new meanings.
Yeah, I got a bit of goosebumps just now.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were so excited to discover. Even when we finally rehearsed the whole show as a flow, when we got to the ending, we just went, wow, we've never heard Home with that much meaning.
The experience is very different from, let's say, hearing it at National Day parade.
Or even on TV.
Yeah, it's very, very
I
different.
think the familiarity of it, plus coming to a production like that, that's so honest, that's so intimate in a certain way, and just people just get a very different feeling that, I've never heard a song this way. I think that's one of the ways you want to reach out to people, that songs can reach out to you in more subtle ways, more intriguing ways than just like listening to the lyrics and just finding one meaning, specific meaning. There's so many different meanings. Each time we listen to it, we get so many different meanings from them, depending on the way they sing it, and that's the wonderful thing.
I mean, the way I always see it is that if you want to say something with power and depth, you don't necessarily write a new song, because when you write a new song, people are coping with a whole new experience. What you really want to do is find the perfect song. Right? And if you think about it, right, if everyone thinks about your favorite songs, you pick these favorite songs because the lyrics speak to you personally. They remind you of something. So all you need to do to make that song last forever is find that personal connection. And that's what we hope to offer.
Because for me, when I listened to the song, I was like, I know this song. Then the next thing that came to mind is, it sounded a bit different, and then I started paying attention.
Yes.
Right?
So that was the point, right?
Yeah, that was the point. To hear a song in a whole new way, and then you take it home differently.
How do you put together this musical, talking about total defense, and without being too preachy?
That was the tough part.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a musical, I guess, is already quite different, and the songs are pop tunes. But when it comes to things like lyrics, you keep telling people everyone has a part to play, everyone has a part to play, you have a part to play. It comes a bit like.
I think.
Was it a delicate balance?
It is a balance that we had to find. We were fortunate in the fact that this year's focus is very personal. It's really about asking the question, what will you defend? And this musical is, in a way, answering that question from different points of view. So you will see, a middle-aged auntie telling us what she will defend. You will hear a school teacher telling us what she will defend. And it's personal. And the songs only come in to sort of crystallize the message. It is actually the individual characters telling their stories that the audience is paying attention to. When the song comes, the message is already delivered. The song is just there to say, here's something to remember it by. Because you're not going to go home memorizing auntie's speech, but you will go home remembering the song that comes after. So the song is there to sort of clinch the deal.
Okay.
And I think, again, it was about striking the balance. And what I love is the fact that our cast has taken it very personally. The balance can be totally destroyed if the cast starts preaching. Right? But the cast don't. The cast maintain that very personal engagement. So even when they are singing, there's a part for everyone. What they mean is, me as this character has found my part. Yeah. So it's a personal thing. No one's promising, no one's making speeches on stage. Everyone's just being honest.
So maybe back to the first question, you mentioned this is a very serious topic, right? So when you first started thinking about putting this together, did you ever think maybe we give it the chestnut treatment? Give it a chestnut treatment but get the message across.
Tricky, very tricky.
seriously quite different.
It is very
Yeah.
It is different.
It's not really a parody. It's
Yeah,
not, it's
no,
not a
no,
parody.
no.
Yeah, it's not at all, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not a parody.
simply because I think that the challenge here was already huge enough. I think to say I want everyone in the audience, whatever their age, whatever their background, to think of Total Defense in a totally new light.
Yeah.
That's a lot to do. So and we didn't want to waste time, with playing around with styles and being clever and all that. It's all about honesty. This show, entirely about honesty. So it's always tempting, to sort of use certain, try and test it, gimmicks and all that. But we decided no, we just need to be honest.
Okay.
It's a different form of honesty. I mean, Chestnuts' honesty for me doing the music is to be accurate. And from the accuracy of spoofing a genre of music, people laugh and they recognize it, they laugh. But this is different. We're not there to honestly be accurate and make people realize, oh, it's this song and this style. Like, for example, there's this point they sing the song and I'm not doing it in Hokkien style, and people will be like, oh, distracted, So it's not honesty in that way, but it's heartfelt honesty. The music kind of goes into their body, and it is almost like you're hearing them producing the music itself, rather than the music coming from somewhere and then they sing to it like Bollywood or whatever. It's different, It is their own voice. The music is their own voices, so it's honest in that.
There's a part for everyone in this land that we belong. There's a part for one and all to keep the peace we want.
If you take that song as an example, we've used that song before and we spoofed that song before.
Yeah, correct.
And the tremendous difference between what we did to it then and what we're doing to it now, and it's made us realize that song itself has so much to say. It was very funny when we last played with it, and this time it's very
Totally different.
heartfelt.
It's totally different.
And I think that's wonderful.
Okay.
We may not all carry on to help defend our land.
After the break, we tell you who came up with the title 5 Pillars, 1 Roof and why. Plus, we speak to some of the cast and ask them, what does Total Defense mean to you?